Good morning, everybody. Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Prime Minister of St. Lucia and Minister for Finance, Constituency Development, People's Empowerment and Justice. Honorable Emma Hippolyte, Minister for Equity, Social Justice, Gender, Older Persons, Labor, Cooperatives, and Consumer Affairs. Other distinguished members of Cabinet. Dr. Joni Musabayana, Director of the ILO Decent Work Team and Office for the Caribbean, and other distinguished members of the ILO organization here today. Permanent secretaries, senior public officials. Let me also recognize the representatives for worker organizations. Mr. Julian Monrose, President of St. Lucia Trade Union Federation, and Ms. Goretti Paul, who's standing in for the President, Mr. Vern Gill, of the St. Lucia Employees Federation. Distinguished guests, members of the media, good morning and welcome. My name is Barbara Jacob Small. I'm your hostess for this short but very momentous occasion today. We gather today for what is very quietly an historic occasion. St. Lucia is taking a deliberate step to strengthen dialogue that happens in the world of work, bringing government, employers, and workers into a structured space for consultation and shared decision-making. Today, the voices of government, labor, and enterprise are in this room and will be heard. We now move to the opening remarks from our social partners whose partnership with the ministry has made this initiative possible. I now invite Ms. Goretti Paul to deliver remarks on behalf of the St. Lucia Employees Federation.
I had no idea I would be first. So I would like to recognize the PM, other government officials, other ministers of government, the director of the ILO, my counterpart, Trade Union Federation President, Mr. Monrose, and all other guests. Good morning to you. I am honored to represent the St. Lucia Employees Federation at the launch of the National Tripartite Advisory Committee. Let me begin by first acknowledging the leadership of the government of St. Lucia and the support of the International Labour Organization in advancing this important initiative. The establishment of this committee represents a meaningful step towards strengthening structured, institutionalized social dialogue in St. Lucia. And importantly, it reflects a shared recognition that the most effective labor market outcomes are achieved not in isolation, but through deliberate, coordinated engagement among government, employers, and workers. From an employer perspective, this is both necessary and timely, because the performance of our labor market, its productivity, its resilience, its competitiveness is shaped not only by the policies we design, but by how effectively those policies are informed, implemented, and sustained over time. Employers are not only participants in the economy, we are partners in national development. We therefore approach this committee with a clear focus on practical, sustainable outcomes. Because ultimately, the strength of our labor market is reflected not in policy statements, but in workplace realities. It is also important to situate this committee within the broader context of St. Lucia's ongoing engagement with the International Labour Organization on the development of a decent work country program. That process is expected to provide a comprehensive, evidence-based assessment of the labor market, identify key decent work challenges, and support the articulation of national priorities across employment, rights at work, social protection, and social dialogue. It also places strong emphasis on tripartite consultation and ongoing monitoring as essential elements of effective implementation. In that regard, the establishment of this committee is both strategic and necessary. If the program provides the framework, this committee provides the mechanism to ensure continuity, alignment, and accountability over time. From the standpoint of employers, the effectiveness of this committee will be defined by its ability to contribute to clear, measurable improvements in the functioning of the labor market. In particular, one, policy coherence and alignment, ensuring that labor policies are aligned with national development priorities, economic realities, and workforce needs, because coherence at the policy level is essential to consistency in outcomes. Two, evidence-based decision-making, grounding discussions in data, diagnostics, and shared understanding. The strength of our decisions will depend on the strength of our evidence. Three, effective monitoring and accountability, ensuring that engagement leads to measurable progress, clear follow-through, and accountability for results. Dialogue must be matched by discipline in execution. Four, institutional coordination, strengthening alignment across government institutions, employers, worker representatives, and other national stakeholders. Because effective systems are not built on individual efforts, but on coordinated action. And five, balanced and sustainable outcomes. Maintaining a practical balance between worker protection, enterprise viability, and national competitiveness, because sustainable jobs depend on sustainable enterprises. The St. Lucia Employers Federation remains committed to engaging constructively and in good faith. We bring practical insight from across the business community, a strong focus on implementation, and a commitment to solutions that are both equitable and workable. Our role is to ensure, Our role is to ensure that national priorities can be translated into operational reality. The establishment of this committee is an important milestone, but its impact will ultimately be determined by how effectively it contributes to stronger institutions, better policy outcomes, and more resilient and inclusive labor market. This committee has the potential to strengthen not only dialogue, but delivery. That will require consistency, clarity, and a shared commitment to results. We stand ready to contribute constructively to that effort and to support outcomes that are both practical and impactful. Thank you.
Thank you for these inspiring remarks, Ms. Paul. Let me invite Mr. Julian Monrose, President of the St. Lucia Trade Unions Federation.
Thank you, Mistress of Ceremony. Honorable Prime Minister, I intend to be very brief, so allow me to adopt the protocol already established. And further, to assist me in being brief, I want to fully adopt everything that my sister Goretti Paul has said. For the Trade Union Federation, it's a dream come true. It is something that we have been advocating for years, that we need to be at the table, government, employers, workers, to discuss issues that affect the labor market, because we are clear that the issues that affect the labor market eventually affect the whole country and the nation's development. We are happy as a federation that in the last year and a half or so, that we've seen so much progress being achieved in terms of the Department of Labor and the work that has happened. We are happy that last year when we signed with the ILO, the two fundamental conventions, we became the second island in the Caribbean to have ratified all the conventions of the fundamental conventions. And today, I will leave it to who is appointed to speak. We're ratifying another one. So we are going places. And the NTAC will allow us to be able to discuss the issues, see what needs to be done, come to consensus or at least agreement rather than always fighting. Because fighting and fighting does not benefits nobody most of the times. This initiative of the NTAC has given rise to another initiative that the Employers Federation and the Trade Union Federation are now talking about bilateral relationship, where we can sit outside of government and come to discuss matters specifically related to the labor market. Honorable Prime Minister, I want to put on record our tremendous appreciation for what the government has done with the Department of Labor over the last year or so. I want to tell you that I was personally happy when you reconfigured all your ministries and departments and agencies in December, but you left labor in the hand of a very competent permanent secretary. The leadership that she has given to these processes and those things that we have achieved, we cannot allow to go to waste, and we trust that she is going to be in charge of that ship for a very long time. So, with that, I want to say again that the Trade Union Federation pledges its fullest support to the initiative, and we are going to be very actively participating in the NTAC. I thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Barbara. Happy Labor Week, St. Lucia. I want to recognize our Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Musa Bayana. I've got it right? I got it right. Thank you. Mr. Julian Monrose, our Trade Union Representative, Trade Union Federation, Ms. Lisa Goodman, representing St. Lucia Employers Federation, sorry, I don't have the protocol list. Ms. Gorety Paul. Okay. Ms. Imbert, our PS, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyet, our former Minister of Labor. Let us give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The other members of the ILO team, I recognize Mr. Brian Luisi, representing Chamber. You can see, I recognize Dr. Harak Singh. The PM wants me to recognize somebody, and I'm not reading you. I'm sorry, but yes, I recognize Dr. Harak Singh, who's the member of the cabinet. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And I started by saying, let us show our appreciation to Dr. Poyet. I want us to just really seize the moment as to where we are today. And Dr. Poyet and PS Imbert held that ministry. They did what they had to do, but they had the support of both the Employers Federation and the Trade Union Federation. So today, let us recognize the team. Thank you. Today marks the beginning of an important conversation, one that has been long in the making, because at the heart of the National Tripartite Advisory Committee is about dialogue.
It's about bringing people together, government, employers, and workers, not just to speak, but to truly listen to each other. For too long, decisions in the world of work can feel distant from the people they affect the most. This committee changes that. It creates a space where perspectives meet, where distances are not avoided but respected, and where solutions are shaped collectively. This launch also forms part of our wider activities leading to Labor Day 2026, observed this year under the theme, A Celebration of Workers. It is both a tribute and a call to action. In celebrating our workers, we must also commit to strengthening the systems that protect them, support them, and give them a meaningful voice in shaping their future. This is very much in keeping with the spirit of International Labour Organization Convention number 144, which reminds us that consultation is not a formality. It is a responsibility to engage, to consider, and to act in a way that reflects balance and fairness. In this moment, I want to pause for us to recognize the contribution of the ILO over the past 2 years to St. Lucia. We are truly grateful. When we get this right, that is the balance of fairness and listening to each other, when we listen, when we include, when we work together, the benefits extend far beyond the workplace. We celebrate stability. We build trust. We strengthen the very foundation of our economy. Because economic growth is not just about numbers. It's about people, their livelihoods, their dignity, and their opportunities. Importantly, this committee also positions St. Lucia to move forward with greater confidence and cohesion at a time when our country, like many others, is navigating economic shifts and social demands. A structured and inclusive mechanism such as this allows us to respond more thoughtfully and effectively. It helps us to anticipate challenges, reduce conflict, and build consensus, ensuring that our path to national development is steady, balanced, and resilient. Our approach has always been guided by the simple belief that development must be people-centered and inclusive, not in a loud or performative way, but in a quiet, consistent decisions we make, ensuring that no voice is too small to be heard and no stakeholder is left behind. And I want to sort of reflect on a few events we had yesterday. Yesterday we had the Occupational Health and Safety Workshop. And that was focusing on the health, ensuring that we shift the internal equality within our workplaces. And we had an extremely good team at Secret Hotel working for the day in trying to make that shift away from poor air quality as well as our mold infestation. We felt we had to put this high up on the agenda to ensure that we protect our workers. This was followed by me attending a workshop put together by the Trade Union Federation, where they were training their reps to be better bargaining agents. And I saw, you see, Mr. Monroe is laughing. I saw they were there, they got help from the ILO. It was interesting to see the interaction in the room. This was followed by another meeting at the Ministry of Labor, where we had what we call a mediation session between the NWU and the Millennium Heights. And I need to tell you that it was historic because it was my first time sitting as the Minister of Labor and trying to get the two units to sit down and face our reality as a St. Lucia, face our reality as a country that needs to manage itself, where we have no help from outside. And I really want to put on record my gratitude to the NW in particular, and the comrade Maynard, Tyrone Maynard, who was with us, albeit remotely, for the environment in the room. And I was pleased, I thanked them, but I want to thank them publicly for that environment. If we have that environment going forward, then St. Lucia, we are in good hands. So I want to thank the union for this. As Minister for Labor and as chairperson of this tripartite committee, I give you my assurance that this will not be a passive body. I am fully committed to ensuring that its work is meaningful, that its voice is influential, and that its impact is felt at the highest level of decision-making in our country. And now it is my distinct honor to present the individuals who will carry this work forward. And I present the members of the National Tripartite Advisory Committee. And members, I would invite you to stand. Mr. Julian Monrose, representing the St. Lucia Trade Union Federation. Ms. Lisa Goodman. Oh, that's another, oh, that's right, okay. St. Lucia Trade Union Federation. Ms. Doreen Obodi Achina. Now, that is a name. All right, I said it right? Obodichi. Doreen. The National Workers Union. Ms. Vanessa Joseph, St. Lucia Employers Federation. Mrs. Amy Henry DeMille, St. Lucia Employers Federation. Ms. Goretti Paul, St. Lucia Employers Federation. Mr. Afa Compass, Government Representative. Ms. Sheila Imbat, Government Representative. And Mr. Nikolai Lansico, ex officio member. To each of you members, I extend a warm welcome and my sincere congratulations. You have been entrusted with a responsibility of great national importance, and I have every confidence that you will serve with integrity, diligence, and a true spirit of collaboration. Today, let us move forward with purpose, guided by dialogue, strengthened by partnership, and united in our commitment to building a better future for all. Happy Labor Day, and with God's continued guidance, we all shall rise. I thank you.
So 3 voices, 1 table. This is the promise of the National Tripartite Advisory Committee. This is significant. The ratification of ILO Convention 144 and the establishment of the NTAC. I now invite the partners to take your place at the table for the official signing. Ladies and gentlemen, St. Lucia has signed. The National Tripartite Advisory Committee is no longer a promise or proposal, it's a reality. I will invite now Dr. Joni Musabayano, Director of the ILO Decent Work Team and Office for the Caribbean, to address us.
Your Excellency, the Honorable Prime Minister, PM, Honorable Minister Hippolyte, Honorable former Minister, I think I need to also acknowledge her, Honorable Prime Minister, Your Excellency. CAPSEC, we have met now, we are becoming familiar with each other. Ms. Paul representing employers, Mr. Monroe representing workers. Let me say all protocol observed. It's my honor, Your Excellency, to be here with you today to receive the ratification of Convention 144, which is the instrument on tripartite social dialogue. Allow me to reflect that this comes very closely on the heels of you last year ratifying Convention 138 on minimum working age, which brought universal ratification of that convention, which really has to do with children in the world of work. And also your ratification of Convention 155, which, second to Antigua, brought you as the lead nations in ratifying the Convention on Occupational Health and Safety. And therefore it was indeed a pleasure, Honorable Minister, yesterday to be at the workshop you have referred to, which was giving effect to that convention. But today it's about Convention 144 and the launch of the National Tripartite Advisory Committee. Allow me to reflect, Your Excellency. You joined the ILO on the 9th of April, 1980. That makes you 46 years old in the ILO. And I think if we were talking in the life cycle of a person, we would say you are now reaching the age of maturity. And I want to continue in this vein and observe that your economy has shifted, from my reading, from a single crop agrarian economy to a diversified modern economy led by tourism with manufacturing and also significant banking services. That means, Your Excellency, your economy is becoming a more modernized economy. And with this, you are able, therefore, to have a diversified workforce. And it is indeed, thank you. This happens always. It is indeed, Your Excellency, that as the economy diversifies and becomes more complex, so does the labor market become more diversified, more complex. And therefore, the need for dialogue to ensure that the pressure points and the frictions that are brought about by development are dialogued around the table rather than, as we like to say, resolved in the streets. And so the establishment of this body today is truly an acknowledgement of the journey that you yourselves are traveling and where your economy is going. And for that, I want to thank you, Your Excellency. It is also significant, if not fortuitous, that we are signing in here the Financial Administrative Center, where I presume all matters of macroeconomic policy are debated. And yet here we are signing something related to the labor market. I thank the organizers for their wisdom in placing us here, because indeed, Your Excellency, the labor market is at once a derivative of macroeconomic fundamentals, but also a driver of macroeconomic fundamentals. So the two, the financial market, the macroeconomic environment, and the labor market are in fact mutually reinforcing. It is almost infeasible to have a country which is economically galloping forward while its labor market remains stagnant. It is almost a contradiction in terms. as that labor market follows the path of economic growth, it itself becomes more mature, more complex, more diversified, and therefore the need for dialogue to address all the issues of complexity related to the labor market become quite apparent. I therefore want, in that spirit, Your Excellence, to thank you for acknowledging to sign this convention. I want to thank you for establishing this National Tripartite Advisory Committee. Allow me to observe, Your Excellency, that this convention you are signing, of ILO's 187 member states, you are the 159th member state signing this protocol today. And true to the spirit of maturity that says you are taking your rightful place in the world of work. Allow me to observe that a study recently done on dialogue in the labor market in the world by the ILO found that 83% of the member states have such a body. And therefore you are joining what is the community of nations on how labor markets should be managed throughout the world. However, and I think I echo the words of the employers and workers, establishing the body is not enough. It is, as they say, the devil is in the detail. It's in its functionality. It's in its inclusivity. It is the quality of dialogue that the employers and the workers are going to bring to it. Evidence-based dialogue rather than emotion-based dialogue that is truly going to serve St. Lucia very well going forward. We as the ILO stand with you in assisting you to look at the labor market in much more detail. We are therefore very thankful, Your Excellence, for your agreement to develop the Decent Work Country program. We are, in the coming weeks and months, going to be preoccupied in really doing a very thorough deep dive in an analytical way, evidence-based. Where does St. Lucia's labor market stand today? Preliminary review shows us that 65% of your GDP comes from tourism, that 40 to 50% of your workforce is in tourism, that agriculture, that played so important a role in the past, is now contributing around 5%, if not less, of your GDP. We are going to try to look what has happened to the shift in workforce over time from agriculture to this complex economy that you have now. What is the role of women in this economy? Where do young people stand in this economy? What is the stand of youth unemployment? Which are those sectors that are actively creating more jobs, quality jobs? What type of jobs? All of that, Your Excellency, will then bring to bear a quality dialogue on the path that St. Lucia maps for herself as you go forward. And the ILO stands ready to continue to work with you. Indeed, let me conclude by inviting you on behalf of the ILO Director General, your Honorable Minister, following in her footsteps last year. It was my pleasure to be with her in Geneva last year, at which she gave an address to really what they call the Parliament of the Working People of the World. I hope, Your Excellency, that Minister Hippilot will be able this year to follow on that. One of the issues we are going to be discussing there, Your Excellency, is indeed the functionality of social dialogue structures throughout the world. I hope you will be able to be there and to share with the world that you have stratified 144 and you have a newly established National Tripartite Advisory Committee. With these words, looking forward to seeing you in Geneva. Let me wish you a successful journey as we work with you on how to improve the labor market in St. Lucia. I thank you, Your Excellency.
Let me recognize the ministers here today, the members of the Cabinet Secretary, representatives of the trade unions, representatives of the ILO, my brother from Africa, from the motherland. Give him a round of applause. And let me just inform him that the Ministry of Education is embarking on a survey to determine how and when African history could be taught in the schools in St. Lucia. So, what we're doing here this morning is what our government is all about. I've always said that our government is a Labour Party government. It's a government of George Charles. It's a government that created trade unions. It's a government that created the Contract of Services Act, which began the whole process of trade unionism and representative of workers. So what's happening is not new to us. We expect that to happen. We expect our party, our government, when we're in power, when we're in government, we expect workers to be better off. And if I can see for myself, without being compelling, the workers of this country are usually better off under labor. But we are not perfect. And if anybody knows you well, I say two things. Never try to read anybody's heart. The only way you can know what's in somebody's heart or in their mind is to talk to them. And I think quite a bit of conflict happens in the world because we always believe we can read somebody's heart and we know who likes us and who doesn't like us. And we go into all kind of series about people's hearts. You can never know what's in any man's heart or any woman's heart unless you speak to them. And the only way we can communicate, and that's what makes us different to animals, we must speak to each other. So if you just used to speak to each other and say to each other really what they feel or what you feel somebody else feels, I think the world would have been a much better place. I really think so. That's happening in CARICOM now. People just not speaking to each other. And the idea of the National Tripartite Advisory Committee is a step that will tell us, let us speak. I think that government in particular should have nothing to hide from workers. The government ought to be able to show the workers the state of the government's treasury. Everybody knows what my salary is. It hasn't changed from 2000 something. And we have no trade union representation. So everyone knows that. So, I believe that it would have been so much easier if we could swallow our egos and talk to each other and lay the facts down, and life would have been much simpler and much more comfortable for us all. We have enough issues to deal with. You have to deal with climate change, you have to deal with the IMF, you have to deal with the World Bank. We have to deal with all sorts of things. They want us to sign all sorts of things, not the ILO conventions. They want us to sign all sorts of things for small countries. They change the goalposts on us all the time. One day they tell us to go into bananas. Then they say you can't go there again. Next they say to go into financial services. They say you can't go there again. Next they tell you to go into something. They tell you must have all kinds of conventions. You sign it, they shift it again. Now we're in financial services, they say we can't go there again. We trying to do a CIP, they say we cannot do it. So it's difficult enough being a small country and trying to improve the quality of life of your people. Why must we create internal conflict? Why must we create internal conflict? And I believe that organizations like that can help the internal conflict because we have enough to deal with on the world scene. I want to congratulate the minister. She'll be speaking about that from the last time she was in my cabinet. And also the new minister who believes that I gave her a poison chalice. But I want to say it's because of my level of confidence and trust and belief in her, she's got these ministries. So I'm sure she will perform. And I want to tell you that is what our government is about. Our government is about improving the lives of workers. Sometimes we will not get it right all the time. Sometimes there will be disagreements, but let's talk to each other. And the government should. The government should be able to take the trade unions in its confidence and say that is the state of the economy. We started. The debt of the country is a document that's public. Anyone can pick up a document and see what the country owes. Anybody can do that. That's the first step. So the trade unions, in discussions, we can show them the country's debt. It's no longer a secret, no longer something you hide, no longer you say even though you see 75, you see it's 85, but you know it's 75. There's no need for that now. That's the first step. The second step is for us to talk about our productivity, whether our productivity is at a level that is commensurate with what we ask for. And we can talk about it. We can talk about it. I know about the health and safety, and the idea of mold in government buildings is a problem. I don't know how. I don't know when it started. I don't know when it will end. But again, we can sit and we can talk about it. I'm very happy, Minister, that you began to speak about it. So I think life could be much easier. Life could be much simpler if human beings would just talk to each other. I really, really believe that. And let's stop trying to read everybody's heart and know what's in his heart and what's in, you know. In my job, everybody knows what's in my heart except me. So I just want to congratulate you for, congratulate the ILO for recognizing that St. Lucia has signed these conventions. St. Lucia will continue to work with the ILO within reason. You must understand that St. Lucia is a small country. We have limited resources, and sometimes these conventions must be not tailored, we must understand that some of these conventions, we have to look at how we implement them. But I'll tell you something, if our government, the ultimate aim is always to make the workers of St. Lucia better. We are the government of the minimum wage. We didn't just create a minimum wage, we spoke to people about the minimum wage, and we have a minimum wage. With inflation, etc., we may have to adjust it. When the time comes, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I want to tell you, our government wants to talk, will talk. And sometimes people believe that lack of confrontation and lack of conflict is you are not powerful, you know. But I don't think power lies in confrontation. I don't think power lies in I'm the boss and what I say goes. I don't think so. I think power lies when you can see the holistic development of the people of a country. That's where the power is. And that is why we strive to do in government. This is why I think that every child should be able to matriculate with their 5 CXCs, even though their parents can't afford it. That's where the power is. And where the power is we say that we have an issue with the population of the country. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. That's where the power is. Not the power in being, I'm the boss, I know everything. Nah. No one knows everything. No one will ever know everything. Only some of us like to believe, because we have temporary jobs, that we know everything and we're all powerful. This job is a very temporary job. And this job is a job that is fleeing. On the 1st of December, I would not have been here. The next one, I may not be here. So I want to tell you, to congratulate you and tell you the workers, the unions of this country, this government will work with you. We're not in the business of confrontation. Every union, we're not in the business of confrontation. The employers, I want you to make a lot of money. And I say that all the time. I want the businessmen in St. Lucia to make money because they'll pay me my taxes. So if they don't make money, I won't get my taxes from them. So Brian, I want you to make a lot of money. The chamber, I want to make the business environment as good as possible, as conducive as possible for you to make money. Confrontation, neither of the chamber nor of the unions. I'm in the center for the workers to get a better deal and the employers make more money. Agreed? Thank you very much for this morning. I wish you all the best and have a good day.